Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Last night was UFC 271, and in the main event, you have Israel Adesanya defeating Robert Whittaker via unanimous decision to retain his middleweight title. And as soon as this main event went to the scorecards, I knew we were in store for a controversial decision. And sure enough, a lot of people, a lot of MMA fans, scored the main event for Robert Whittaker. So I wanted to make this video. Was Robert Whittaker robbed at UFC 271? I went back and watched this middleweight main event twice. I'm going to let you guys know if I changed my mind, who I scored it for. I'm going to go through round by round and let you guys know what took place in each round and why I scored one round for which fighter, whatever fighter I scored it for. But first off, my live scoring for this fight is I thought round 1 went to Israel Adesanya pretty clear. I think we can all agree on that. Round 5 went to Whittaker. And then I thought that Adesanya took rounds 2 and 3. And I thought 4 was up for debate. But honestly, I had no problem with a 4-1 Izzy. And I know a lot of people think that's crazy. But again, you watch it one time, you're watching it live. You're on the edge of your seat because it's just a high-level MMA fight. And when you go back and rewatch it without the live effect, you can really get a better feeling for the fight. So that's why I did this. First and foremost, the commentary was incredibly biased towards Israel Adesanya. I've said that in the past for the Jan Blachowicz-Adesanya fight. I don't think the commentary was as bad this fight as it was for the Jan Blachowicz fight, because in the Jan Blachowicz fight, I believe Jan Blachowicz was clearly winning, and they were acting as if Adesanya was winning. And in this fight, I believe it was very close, and they were just acting like Israel Adesanya was clearly winning, which I think is a legitimate opinion to think that Adesanya won this fight clearly. But I get what everyone's saying. I don't like the commentary either. I'm not a big fan, but again, they're watching the fight live. So anyway, let's get to round 1. Round 1, I scored for Israel Adesanya. He chewed up the legs of Robert Whittaker. This wasn't a crazy round by any means, but he chewed up the legs of Robert Whittaker. He dropped him with the straight left against the fence, and also he shrugged off 2 takedowns of Robert Whittaker. And I think this round 1 was a very good round for Adesanya. And after I watched this first round, I really thought, okay, Adesanya is really going to take over this fight. Robert Whittaker did not look great in between rounds. I know the commentary team said that, but I saw that and thought that in my mind before John Anik even said that Whittaker looked defeated in between rounds. But this was a very solid first round for Israel Adesanya. So the second round, and I believe this is one of the most controversial rounds, was a very, very close round. Whittaker landed some good shots early in the round. There was a good uppercut landed by Israel Adesanya. Then there was a takedown by Robert Whittaker with really no control, and that's kind of the story of the fight. Adesanya continued to batter the lead leg of Robert Whittaker, and then also Whittaker had a little bit of clinch work in this round. This round was very, very close, and I truly believe that round 2 could have went either way, but the way I scored it was, I thought the striking was pretty much dead even, and I don't believe the stats. I don't look at the stats to prove my point one way or another. If it's wrong, I don't totally disregard the stats. If it reflects my opinion, I don't use the stats anyway because I don't necessarily believe the official stats. But I thought the striking was relatively even in round 2. And because it was relatively even, I gave the round to Robert Whittaker. Even though he got the takedown, he didn't do much with it. Adesanya popped right back up. But there was really nothing else to score the fight on. So I had to give round 2 to Robert Whittaker. But a very close round. Would not criticize you if you gave it to Israel Adesanya. But that's my personal opinion. Round 3, Adesanya really started to chop the legs some more. Was landing some powerful body shots as well. Whittaker got him down again, but he just got right back up. And then they scrambled to the clinch position, and then Adesanya was able to get out of the clinch rather quickly with the Kimura attempt. And in this round, this was a very close round as well. I had Israel Adesanya winning the third round just barely. I just thought he had the more effective and powerful shots. On top of that, he had the octagon control, and you could say that about the majority of the rounds in this fight. He was pressing forward, which is why I think Robert Whittaker is successful. I said in the pre-fight, if Adesanya is not being pressured and he has to be the one to go forward, his fights are usually very boring, and also he's less effective moving forward than he is if you're moving forward towards him and pressuring him. But I just thought Adesanya landed the harder shots in this round, did more damage and won the fight, but not a super eventful round and a very close third round. Round 4, Adesanya was landing some good shots on the feet. Whittaker gets a takedown in the center of the cage, but Adesanya just pops right back up. Whittaker gets the hooks in, gets the back, standing up, looking for the rear naked choke. Adesanya goes over to the cage, gets him off of him. It was a very limited amount of time that Whittaker, between the takedown and the time he was shucked off the back, I would say it was less than 15 seconds of control time. And I know a lot of people have talked about the rear naked choke. Was nowhere even close to being in. He was fighting for it, but it was nowhere even close. And in this round, it was a very close round as well. Adesanya, I think, landed the better shots. And I know Whittaker was landing some good jabs in this round as well as the third round, but I gave it to Israel Adesanya. I think he had better effective striking. I thought the grappling of Whittaker was so limited in this round. I, favored the damage of Israel Adesanya with the body kicks in this round, and I gave him round 4. I know a lot of people are saying Whittaker took round 4. I think most people have it 2, 4, and 5 for Whittaker. But on rewatch, and I watched this twice, both times I scored it for Israel Adesanya. That back mount meant nothing. It lasted for probably 6 seconds total. And, I know a lot of people might just give that edge to him because of that, but he did absolutely nothing with it. If you don't even have a significant amount of time of control, and then on top of that, you did nothing with it. Each takedown in this fight from Robert Whittaker, he landed no damage and was really able to do nothing with it. Adesanya was able to get him off of him, and I think he landed the more damaging strikes with the body kicks. The round 5 was Whittaker's best round, in my opinion. Had good striking, landed a good right hand. Adesanya stuffed the initial takedown, then was taken down, and then when he popped right back up, he was controlled against the fence for the majority of the round. This was Whittaker's best round with the effective grappling as well as the effective striking. He was landing some good shots, some good jabs, primarily left hooks as well in this fight in general. And I gave round 5 for Robert Whittaker. So on my scorecard, I give the fight to Israel Adesanya 3-2. I give rounds 2 and 5 to Robert Whittaker. I give rounds 1, 3, and 4 to Israel Adesanya. But as far as the fight as a whole, I think this was a very disappointing fight for both guys. Both guys were kind of fighting scared. They didn't really, I get it, they don't want to make a mistake and end up getting KO'd, especially Whittaker after that first fight of him getting brutally KO'd. But I do not have a problem, and I want to know your guys' opinions in the comment. Who did you score it for? But I think this fight was very close. And had Whittaker gotten the decision, I would have been okay with it as well. It was a very close fight. And as far as people using the term robbed, I think this word has lost some of its definition to some people. Because robbed is a fighter that clearly lost the fight getting the win. This was a razor close fight. I would not even be complaining if Robert Whittaker got the decision 4-1. I would not be complaining. You could give Whittaker rounds 2, 3, 4, and 5. They were that close. They were that close, especially rounds 2, 3, and 4. But I have no problem with Adesanya getting the decision 4-1 as well. So either fighter could have won this fight. So no matter who got the decision, I don't think it was a robbery. And as far as the overall fight, I think what won the fight for Adesanya, I know it's round by round. I know it's not by the entire fight. But a synopsis of the fight as a whole, it was Adesanya with pressure, octagon control, and I know that's a secondary factor. I think he landed the more damaging strikes, and then Robert Whittaker was able to do absolutely nothing with the takedowns and not able to even establish long-term control. It was literally the most control throughout this fight was in the 5th round off the takedown, then he controlled him in the clinch. But even in that clinch position, he was not landing a lot of strikes on Israel Adesanya. So overall, this was a very close fight. It was not a fun fight to rewatch, but I rewatched it twice. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Israel Adesanya is still your middleweight champion. I don't know where Robert Whittaker goes from here. Now he has 2 losses to Israel Adesanya. I wouldn't mind seeing this trilogy at some point in the future. I can say this fight has cemented my position that these are the 2 best middleweights in the world. So I kind of understand, why they weren't willing to take a lot of chances in this fight. But as a fan, I wish this fight would have been more exciting. So let me know who you scored it for in the comments. We can always have respectful MMA discussion. I'm always open to other people's opinions. So let me know. Like the video if you enjoyed it, and thank you so much for watching.